For every 20 economists working in global development, there's only like one psychologist. My initial idea is to really, bring economists and psychologists and also other experts like researchers, practitioners, and founders into the same room to talk about the theme of agency. Usually conferences are organized around themes like education, health, right, livelihoods, or it is centered on outcomes like reducing social inequality, for example. In this case, we're targeting a very specific psychological mechanism. That's like an interesting theme that I've heard more and more this year in the Anga events. So I think people are talking about agency. They're thinking about curating agency, protecting agency, so that people have the capability to make choices for their own lives. And I think that's a very unique and important theme to organize around.
I want them to take the focus on agency is exactly right, I think, but I want people to understand that agency is very much a function of the cultures that people are embedded in. One thing that's universal is that we are a social species. We are undeniably interdependent. You can't be a person without being interdependent. So we need much more awareness and knowledge of these different cultures.
Key takeaways from the summit is that agency is so multifaceted. It goes from your own background and experience. It's also a collective action needed to foment this at a societal level, but also gathering the data, understanding how it manifests at the individual level. It's so important.
There's a lot of thinking about how insights from psychology and economics might inform our own roles as grant makers and people supporting social change. So as funders, I think it's important to understand the basic psychology of agency, where it fits into economic models, how sociologists think about it, how it affects our family systems and our community systems. Then we can look to program designers and ask them whether or not they're considering agency. If they're not, maybe the program's less likely to be successful and less likely to be sustainable.
The main thing I'd hope that they take away is the role of mental models, that we do not act on the basis of the real world alone. We work on the basis of our perception of the real world. The mental models, the structures, the narratives, the categories that we use.
Hearing a bit more about how practitioners are thinking about agency and the challenges of bringing these interventions from the lab and from more controlled environments to really become a policy that can be scaled up.
If you think about the theory of agency, it has its roots in both psychology and economics. And I think it's very, very interesting to see Hazel Marcus talking to Joe Stiglitz, talking to Carlo Hoff, having the shared idea about how cultures influence our sense of agency. Part of the mission in this conference is that we have the unique opportunity to bring funders into the same room with practitioners and academics, so that hopefully the whole sector will get attention on this piece called agency. I do think that there is a scarcity, especially psychologists who know a lot about the deep agentic process of human being, but we need to involve them into developing actual interventions that help the actual beneficiaries and the frontline workers.